So I'm the manager of corporate communications at Prometheus Laboratories. I joined about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, end of April, and it's the first time they've ever had corporate communications at this firm. So I was hired to essentially begin corporate communications for them. So I'm responsible primarily right now for internal communications, anything that touches all of our employees, working with our leadership team to communicate kind of the strategic initiatives, mission, vision, direction of the company, down to company events, that sort of thing. Any kind of information that employees need. I'm also involved in our community relations initiatives and a little bit on the external side as well. Really exciting being part of kind of a brand new function. Previously, communications were handled in a very kind of ad hoc sort of way. If something needed to go out, sometimes it would come from HR, sometimes it would come from administrative assistants on the leadership team. There wasn't really any kind of thought or strategy around it. It was very reactive. So it's been a really cool experience being able to come in and kind of offer some strategy and put some kind of practices and guidelines into place and work with different groups throughout the organization to kind of help proactively communicate and help employees kind of feel like they know what's going on, feel connected to the company, feel connected to their department. And it's neat because it's brand new. People were so excited that I was there when I got started because they're just like, oh, we haven't had anyone to actually do this. So it's kind of a good feeling that, you know, people want you there and they trust your expertise. So I worked in healthcare. I was at Hologic for about 3 years and learned a ton while I was there. While Prometheus is certainly a bit of a different business, one of the first things when I got started was just try to read as much as I could, sit down, interview people. I set up a ton of meetings with kind of different departments, different leaders to kind of understand what they do, what their team does, you know, what the business does. I signed up to get a tour of the lab, which was really neat. I think just talking to as many people as I could and trying to get involved in as many different things as I could, kind of get invited to different like team meetings from different groups, kind of meet their team, understand what kind of projects they're working on, what they're responsible for, and just a lot of reading. I haven't at this role. That's something that I think I'm still kind of looking for. I have had, it's almost comical at this point, pretty much every job that I've had since I started interning my junior year of college, my manager has left. As I mentioned, I was at Hologic for 3 years and I had 3 managers over the course of that time. I was at AMN Healthcare prior to that and had about 5 managers in the course of about 2 years. Wow. So while I have had the same manager in my 1 year at Prometheus, as I mentioned, she's the legal background, kind of lets me be very autonomous. So I think a strong mentor is something that I certainly am still kind of looking for, even at this stage. So the interesting part about communications, and part of the reason why I love it, is there isn't really a typical day. It really is different depending on kind of what's going on. It's very project-based. In early March, we participated in the San Diego Science and Engineering STEM Expo Day Festival down at Petco Park. That was a huge undertaking. I had been aware of this event from my previous role and kind of asked, hey, how come Prometheus hasn't participated in this? It's a really neat event and, you know, would be really good for us. And they were aware of it and they said, you know what, they've reached out to us every year and we've never had anyone to kind of deal with it or to handle it. So if you're willing to do that, you know, go for it. So my day-to-day leading up to that was super focused on that. It was a big undertaking. So that happened the beginning of March. So my day-to-day has totally shifted since then because it was very project-based. I would say on a regular basis, more typical week, I'm writing a lot of emails, doing a lot of writing, kind of understanding, hey, what's going on, what's coming up, working with the leadership team on understanding, trying to be proactive, understanding, hey, what's coming up. Do we have a town hall coming up? Let's work on the agenda for the town hall. Let's understand, what do employees want to hear about? What are they going to ask about? We have TV monitors kind of throughout our campus, so we use them as digital signboards like they do here. So just kind of collecting content for those, building the content, getting that up. I manage our intranet, that's kind of a day-to-day when there's new announcements or anything, just kind of keeping the content on that fresh and timely. I love it. I love getting to kind of meet the different teams. I'm working with different people all the time, which is really good. Getting to kind of learn different things. When I first started, I was pulled onto some project teams with our IS department, and I don't really have a technology background either. So kind of getting to know them, getting to know what they're working on, how I can play a role in that, and then becoming a trusted partner to them. And I formed a strong relationship with our director of IS, and he comes to me all the time now with different things, and he knows, okay, hey, here's what I'm thinking. I know we have to get the message out, but, how do you think we should do this? Do we even need to? Here's the problem. So now he kind of looks to me as a, trusted partner before he kind of does anything communications-wise. So it keeps it interesting because it's always different. I'm meeting new people and, doing something a little different every day. I think one of the big ones that I'm seeing that's specific to this role is the fact that it's a brand new function. They don't always know what to do with me. So it's, because I said I'm reporting into this head of legal, I don't have kind of a formal chain of command to get approvals, get budget. I don't have my own budget currently because it's very new. So I have to kind of get budget from the different teams that I'm helping out with. We're owned by Nestle Health Science, so we have this parent company. So there's a lot of red tape just kind of in getting things done. So redoing the intranet was something that when I was first interviewing, they're like, we're on this ancient version of SharePoint. It's so old. Someone designed it 3 or 4 years ago, isn't at the company. Nobody's really touched it since. It's just kind of like there. So I'm like, great. I led a redesign project at my last company. I have this experience. This is great. I came in, I kind of started pulling together a team. I called in a vendor to make a presentation, and it kind of is still waiting, is Nestle going to let us do this? Are we going to get budget for this? So this particular job has a lot of red tape, I would say, and that is unique to this position. I would say in other corporate communications positions I've had, one of the biggest challenges is juggling multiple priorities, for sure, because you work with essentially every function of the business on kind of communicating their needs. Everyone comes to you needing your support, and it's their number one project. But then there's 4 teams that have their number one project, and they all need you. Logic. I traveled not a ton, but quite a bit, I would say. The company is headquartered in Massachusetts, which was actually really perfect for me because my family is in Boston. So I got there about 5 times a year. Our CEO did his town halls typically out of the home office, and I managed those. So I would go out for the week and work in the Massachusetts office, and then I get to see my parents on the weekend. So it was kind of a nice bonus. I also had the opportunity to travel to Europe with Hologic. We had a big office in Manchester, England. I went to Germany. Yeah, it was like a 10-day trip, and it was kind of a few offices in England and then an office in Germany, which was great. So Prometheus is a much smaller company and is all here in San Diego. So I haven't, unfortunately, gotten to travel with this role, but hopefully I will end up back at a global company. But definitely try to meet as many people as you can, remain in network. I will certainly give you my card. Find me on LinkedIn. I mean, stuff like this, like the more you meet people and just kind of have those conversations. How did you get started? What did you do? I also got involved when I moved out here with an organization called IABC, which is the International Association of Business Communicators. Kind of a mouthful. I was not familiar with them before, but a former manager of mine kind of encouraged me to look into it. Now I'm actually on the board of it. And they host, basically it's a professional development group for people in the business communications field. We host events about once a month, and they kind of vary between like formal sit down, either like a lunch and learn or a breakfast presentation, like someone kind of presenting to the group, as well as more informal mixers just to meet other people in the industry and kind of chat about what they're doing, what challenges they're facing. I've met a lot of really great people through that organization that I turn to for advice. It's interesting. Even though another just kind of cool thing about corporate communications, every industry needs it. So, you can do it across the board, anything from MTV to hospitals. So, but what I always find when I attend those networking events is that so many of us have the same challenges, kind of regardless of what the industry is. So it's really cool to be able to meet someone who's been in the field 10 years longer than I have, that I can say, hey, here's kind of what I'm working through, and have them kind of give advice and just kind of see it from different perspectives. So that's a really neat organization. Well, right now I'm making lots of sacrifices because I'm doing work in school. So it's my schedule right now is just kind of nuts because since I've started the program, both companies I've been at, because traffic's so bad and they're both located in like the Mira Mesa area, I leave at like 3:30 and I'm at campus like just after 4, and then I just log on from the lounge and just work remote for that last hour until class starts. Because if I like tried to leave to get here from Mira Mesa for a 5:30 class, like I'd never make it. So when you said 4:30, I'm like, perfect, I'm here that day. So it worked out awesome. But yeah, I would say right now the biggest thing I'm sacrificing is just time. I mean, I'm on campus 2 nights a week till 10. I have homework the other nights. I'm training for a marathon, so it's kind of like work, school, run. So I have a couple half marathons locally coming up. But I had been running with a running club for several years, but they meet Tuesday nights, so I'm not formally with the club now because I can never go on Tuesdays. So that's a bummer. Like, all my friends get together and run tonight, and I'm like, I'm in class till 10, like, catch you next time. But overall, I mean, I absolutely love the MBA program. I love school. I like what I'm doing. Right now, it's just kind of tough. I would say time is the biggest sacrifice. Just like, oh no, I can't go out to dinner with you. I can't go for a run with you. It's like, I've got homework to do, or I've got to meet up with a group project, or just trying to fit it all in. It's the biggest challenge is trying to get 4 working people together on the same day. I have this one class, it's the one that I have at 7 o'clock tonight, and there's 4 people in my group, including myself, and we have to get together, and for the last 2 months, we have been unable to coordinate a day of the week because we all have this Tuesday night class. I'm here Tuesday and Thursday, but then there's a handful of them that are Monday, Wednesday. So then we're like, okay, well, we'll do it on a Friday. And then it's like, oh, I'm going out of town this weekend. Oh, I'm on a work trip. So we're finally, for that particular class, finally meeting up next Monday night, because we don't have class because of Easter. Yes. So the one person who typically at class till 10 on Monday is like, guys, I don't have it. We can do Monday if that works for everyone else. So the projects themselves are really good. They're really interesting, but it's definitely challenging trying to work with other people's schedules. We do a lot of Google Docs and okay, everyone hop on a conference call on the phone and start putting things in, and I'll work on it, over my lunch hour, and someone else will work on it, when they get an hour here and there. So just kind of trying to piece it all together. I need to. Running's my mental health. I try to get up and go in the morning before work.
How early is that?
I get up at 6. It's not too crazy because I start my work day at 8:30, okay. which isn't bad. I know some people that start 7 or 7:30. So I usually get up at 6, get 3 to 4 miles, and I can't usually do more than that in the morning because I'm like, oh, I gotta get to work. So I try to do that. The nights, usually Wednesdays, I try to get dinner with a friend. It's a rotating, okay, who can I see? So, and then on the weekends, I certainly, make time for friends and all of that. It's tough, but if I'm okay, I'm gonna do my long run Saturday morning, do homework for most of the afternoon, then I'll meet up with people Saturday evening, and it's working. It's tough, but it's working, and it's important to keep up with that kind of self-care. Everyone told me I was totally crazy for keeping up with the running, and I was like, it's a lot, and sometimes I'm just like, why am I doing this? But then I'm like, if I wasn't running, I'd be just so stressed. I would say kind of jump at every opportunity. I've had the opportunity to get involved in some kind of cross-functional project teams, but I kind of spoke up and I really wanted to be involved. Kind of, again, meet people, but I would say by getting ahead is taking those opportunities in those periods of absences when I didn't have a director above me. I was reporting to a VP. At AMN at one point I was reporting to the CEO because both the director and the VP roles were vacant. So I had to report to someone. So those were opportunities that I really got to kind of make a name for myself and really have to all right, you're reporting to the CEO, you have a Tuesday morning meeting with her, you need to go prepared and show her you can do this. So then, eventually they filled the director role, they filled the VP role, but I knew the CEO and I had a relationship with her now, and just kind of that relationship building, just taking advantage of those opportunities, and then they know you by name, they know what you can do, and then when they are putting together a project team, they're like, oh yeah, I remember working with her before, and she's done that before, she's helped me out with that. So kind of once people start to know you, you're kind of building that strong reputation and knowing that you're someone that wants to jump in and learn. I've certainly been on teams with people that have that's not my job mindset, and every position I've ever been in, I've had to do stuff that's not my job. That's just and I think in any field, that's just kind of how it works. But those people don't get as far. You kind of have to step out of what you're doing and be at least open to, you know, okay, well, I haven't done that before, but teach me and we'll get there. So just kind of stepping in, showing initiative, and really forming those relationships will kind of help you move up.